Hey, welcome back to Mike's Italian Grand Adventure. Just kind of sitting here in the shade, got a nice cool spot, and just thinking about my new place I'm going to buy in Italy. So, a couple of things I'd like to talk about today. Um, a few different things. First of all, I just want to talk about how you go about buying a house in Italy, because I think a lot of people are thinking about it, looking at it. At least from the comments, I'm getting that idea. Um, and so I want to go a little bit over about the process of actually finding a property and then moving forward. And I haven't completed the purchase process yet, so I'm not going to go all the way through to the end, but I'll go up to the point where I'm at so you get an idea. Um, and then also, I just want to talk about a few other things. Some of the things I found out about the area where I'm going to buy, and then also answer some of your questions from your comments. So, stay tuned. All right, let's get started on how you buy a place in Italy. So, there's been a lot of people who have reached out to me with comments uh, and ask, "Hey, can I get your contact information for your realtor, Paula? I'd really like to talk to her." And I'm happy to give that to you, but I'm not sure that's going to be a huge help because the way real estate works in Italy is a little bit different. Okay, so in the United States, at least, you have two realtors, one representing the seller, one representing the buyer. And the one representing the buyer, you can find whatever house you're looking for online, and they'll contact that realtor, and you can look at any property, with them. In Italy, it's different. There's one realtor that represents the seller and the buyer. So if you get Paula's name, she can only help you with the houses that she has listed, that she's selling. So if one of those houses that she's selling you're interested in, of course, that's great. She'd be perfect. But if you're thinking you're just going to contact her and say, "Hey, I'm looking for this kind of house," and she can find any house in the Piedmont region that fits those criteria, that's not how it works in Italy. So anyway, so those of you that are asking for Paula's contact information, for sure, I'll put her website in the description of this video, and by all means, contact her. She's a lovely person. But also, one other question someone had is, I assume she speaks English. Well, actually, no, she doesn't. And when I was in Italy, I speak some Spanish, so I was able to understand a bit of what, most of what we were talking about. But if it was anything that was a little bit more complex or, some information I wanted to make sure we were, communicating, we used Google Translate, and it worked fine. It was no problem. I've used that a lot. I travel a lot, so it's pretty convenient. But and then we've done almost all of our communication texting through WhatsApp. It's so awesome, and everyone in Europe uses it. So I just type my message in English. Paula gets it in Italian. Presumably, she does the same thing, types it in Italian. I get it in English. Every once in a while, the translation may not be exactly right, so I have to clarify or something like that. But it's been pretty minimal that there's been a problem with the translation. So yeah, that's the way I'm doing it, and it's worked fine with me. And actually, I quite prefer it. It works really, really well. And with the time difference, then you can also send messages when it's a different time. Obviously, you could do email too, I'm sure, but texting just seems so much easier. And Paul is incredibly responsive. She responds right away. Usually when I get up in the morning, it's 8 hours later there, so it's her afternoon, and she'll respond, through the evening, kind of. So anyway, again, if you want Paula's contact information, I'll put her website in the link and or in the description, and then you can contact her if you'd like. The other thing I wanted to talk about was like the whole process. So starting with Paula, I looked at her list of properties, and she had like 20 properties, maybe more. And on Idealista, you can just search by the realtor, so it would pull up. So I would say do a lot of research online. Idealista is a really big one. There's a couple other real estate websites. I think immobiliare is Italian for realty. So that's one too. I'll put those links in the description as well, if I can find them. I'm pretty sure I can. But yeah, just look through those. They have a bunch of filters, so you can filter out if you want it to be on a hillside, like in a hill town, or if you want a condo or modern, or size of the place, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, price obviously. Yeah, lots of different things you can filter on. So that's really helpful when you're looking. And you can also on the map you can draw like a polygon on the map. Uh, to narrow down your region. So you don't have to just type in a town name. You can say, hey, I want to look in these 3 cities and everything in between. And then if you don't want, like things out in the country, you can, deselect that box for those properties. So, and then when you do that, find the realtor and contact the realtor. A lot of the realtors I tried to contact didn't respond. I would send messages in Italian and English, just so they knew, in case they did speak English. So and a lot of them didn't respond, or it took like 2 weeks, for them to respond, and then I was kind of gone out of the area. I did some of it ahead of time, but yeah, that's just the time consuming part, obviously. And then, of course, if you can go to Italy and just get a feel, that's way better, of course, than just looking online. But then again, like I've said to some people, if no matter where you go in Italy, I think it's going to be incredible. I went to 17 of the 20 regions on my motorcycle tour this spring, and I wouldn't be unhappy in any one of them. I mean, they're all beautiful, and there's something to be had in each one, something you're going to like, and it's a unique experience, of course. And the food is different in every region, and it's there's going to be something that's going to be great about it. So, if you don't get a chance to go over there and you're just going to buy something and it's not that expensive and you want to have a real adventure, I mean, I think that would work out too. So, for me, I really wanted to take a look around and see. So, I've had quite a few people have posted comments recently asking why did I choose Piedmont, the Piemonte region, of the 20 regions of Italy. And I think I've gone through this in a previous video, but it might have been a while ago. So just wanted to go over it again a little bit and explain. So one of my big goals was to have something that was a little bit more central in Europe. Sorry, this fly is bothering me. Something that was more closer to Central Europe. So to be able to get to Germany or Czech Republic, where I have a lot of friends, and then Germany or Switzerland or France or Holland or whatever. I wanted to kind of be closer there. So as I started riding south down the east coast of Italy, and the days started adding up, I was like, wow, just to get out of Italy from, let's say, Abruzzo or, I mean, Puglia, if you're down on the heel of Italy and you're going to ride a motorcycle, I mean, that's a 3-day ride. Sure, you could jump on a highway and, go 100 miles an hour for 12 hours or something, but it was just a long ways. So as I started doing that, uh, I started focusing more on northern Italy. So the weather, I mean, it's super hot in the south of Italy, and it's even hot in the north of Italy. So, with the summers just seeming to get hotter and hotter, I'm getting texts from my buddies in Europe, my friends in Europe, and they're just all boiling over there. It's super hot right now. But so I wanted to be a little bit further north, but I didn't want to be in the mountains because I live in the mountains now. So, and it's pretty short summers and late springs and early fall. So I wanted just kind of a longer, warm season. So I didn't want to be in the mountains. So Piedmont is, the definition or the translation of Piedmont is foot of the mountains, Pied and Mont, and so it has the Alps, in the west. I guess from your perspective, in the west and kind of in the north, it's Switzerland and France, and the Alps are right there. And so a lot of it is high mountain stuff, but it comes down and there's a really flat plain where there's a ton of agriculture. I think I mentioned in my 20 Regions of Italy video, Piedmont is the number one producer of rice in all of Europe. And I saw it. I drove through tons of rice paddies and rice fields. It's incredible. But this region where I'm looking, Monferrato, is a little region of hills in that flat plains. So there's flat plains with agricultural and then rolling hills and then these hill towns everywhere, as you've seen in some of the videos. with little castles on every single town, or well, they're big castles, when from you looking from a distance. So you look out and you see a castle or a big church or whatever. My town, in fact, the house I'm buying, from the rooftop, the church is like building over. It's right there, and that is the focal point from that whole region, looking in at that hill town. So that's really cool. So that was one of the reasons, or those are kind of the main reasons I chose Piedmont. Also, the food and wine culture is incredible. That region of Italy is not heavily touristed yet, so there's not quite as many people there. Think of Tuscany. Everyone wants to go to Tuscany. It's probably the region, the only region most people know. But I didn't want that. And Tuscany is lovely. Don't get me wrong, but Piedmont was really appealing to me because it has kind of similar hill towns in this area, and incredible. Some of the best wines in all of Italy are right there. And in fact, I mentioned in my last episode that that region, Monferrato, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site because of its wine culture and the wine landscape and the vineyards. And so, I mean, that tells you enough right there, right? The wine is obviously an incredibly important part of the culture there and the history. So that was a really big one. And I remember reading about that all the hill towns have festivals all summer long and in the fall and the spring, of course. And they have festivals for different types of food. Alba is a town not too far away from. It's known for white truffles. It has a huge white truffle festival. I think there's going to be one in September when I'm there. So I might make it down to that. So just everything just kind of fit for me. And the climate is probably going to be a little bit cooler, certainly cooler than the South. Also, the South is really dry, incredibly dry. So it doesn't have a lot of the same types of foods as you would up north because, for instance, cheese. In order to make cheese, you need milk. So milk, you need sheep or cows, and then to feed sheep and cows, you need grass and grain. And so they can't really grow it down there because there's not much water. So they have a lot of olive oil, tons of olive trees. So they grow in that hot climate, really nice down south. But up north, lots of cheeses, lots of different types of meats, and to me it just seemed it fit more of what I was looking for in Italy. So I'm sure there are other things I thought about Piedmont too. I mean, the proximity to France is great. Also, so I'm pretty close. I'm like an hour from the mountains north, an hour from the Ligurian coast to the south. So I have pretty good options to go to either one of those places if I'd like to get a little beach time or hang out on the Italian Riviera and the region of Liguria, and that would be great. Or you can go up north into the Alps, and do some hiking in the summer, or if you want to go skiing in the winter, whatever. So I've been talking with Paula a little bit recently and asked her about utilities. One of the guys she mentioned, I mentioned him in the last video, a British expat that's lived in Italy for like 18 or 19 years, and we've been exchanging some texts, and he's been giving me some guidance and suggestions. And he said, hey, make sure you get a copy of the utilities, because you want to make sure, A, that they've paid their utilities and they're up to everything's paid, so you don't sign up and have a big bill waiting for you. And then also, he said it just makes it so much easier to set up utilities. So Paula is said she's going to get all that stuff set up for me, which is incredible. So that's a huge help. So we got that in the works. I applied for my Codice Fiscale. I think I've told you this before. I've mentioned a bunch on these videos, and I guess I'm a little obsessed with it, but it's just something you have to have, a tax ID number, in order to buy a place. So I kind of want to make sure I have one, right? Paula said that you can just make an appointment. We can make an appointment, and when you come over here, we can just go into the office. You show them your passport, and they give you the tax ID number on the spot. So I had already done some research, and the Italian consulate in San Francisco said if I sent in my signed purchase agreement, that they could issue one relatively quickly by email. So that's what I did. But if for some reason that doesn't happen or I don't get it, then as a backup, we can always do the one with Paula when I get over there this fall. So yeah, the works are it's just kind of coming in. The process is moving along. So to talk a little bit about the buying process, so I talked about Paula finding a property, going to look at it, and then we talked about price a little bit. And once you're ready, if you want to buy something, you can put in this initial proposal of acquisition, I think it's basically called. And it's just a simple 3-page document. It's got the address on there. It's got the owner's names. It's got the legal description. And then there's a few different pieces of information you need to put in, like how much you're going to pay for a deposit, the agreed purchase price, the date you want to close, the deadline. And there's a deadline for the offer too. So if they don't respond, then the offer is dead after a certain time, certain point. So that's good. And once you sign it, you send it in to, I sent it back to Paula, and she had the owners sign it to agree to that price. And then it came back to me, and then I signed it one final time, and then it was complete. So it's just a simple 3 or 4 page, actually, maybe it's 5 page, but pretty simple. And it's both in Italian and English. So on one side is the Italian in a column, and then the exact same thing is in English on the other side. So you know exactly what you're getting, and you sign on both sides, the English and the Italian side, to make sure there's no doubt about it. Um, and so once that's done, then you're under contract. So there's a couple of different things that are unique to Italian real estate. There's someone with a role called a Geometra. What the Geometra does is they do a bunch of stuff, and it's a specific role for real estate in Italy. So what they do is they research the house to make sure there aren't any other owners out there, because some of these places have been passed down through generations, and maybe someone owns 15% and another person owns whatever 20%, and you never know, one of those people could be lost and make a claim on it after you buy it. So Geometric can research all that and make sure everything's clear. In my case, there's 4 owners, but I think it's like 2 couples, so there's 4 names on the contract, but it's pretty straightforward. So one of the couples lived in the region, the other one lived in Genoa. So it's pretty straightforward. The other thing the Geometra does is they make sure that the records the city has for the building and the architecture and the rooms and everything is the same as the house is right now. So basically, that there haven't been any changes to the house that the city didn't approve. So that would be the equivalent of here in the United States, like putting a bathroom in and not getting a permit. So it's an unpermitted bathroom, so it wasn't checked for safety, wiring, plumbing, all that stuff. So it's kind of the same thing. And for some of these properties, they're going to be historical properties in Italy, so it's even more important because they're really strict about that. They want to maintain that original historical character of the place. So Geometra does that stuff, and that's an extra fee that's added on, maybe $1,500 or something like that, 1,500 euros, kind of about the same right now. So the Geometra is a optional thing. It's but it's a specific kind of role that's in real estate in Italy. The other one is the notaio. Notario, yeah, it's like a notary. It's an official notary that officially registers the purchase. That's the person you go to and sign the document in their presence, and they register it with the government to officially show that you're the owner now. And so that's the final deal. So that's what I'll be doing this fall when I'm over there. So it's really not an incredibly complex process. There's not a lot of people involved. The realtor actually does a lot of stuff. And then the Geometra is an option, and then I just want to say notary. It's Notaaio, I think. Notaio. I don't know. But anyway, so that's the final deal. That's the person. So it's, for a country that has this reputation for incredibly complex bureaucracy, I haven't really seen it yet. When I talked about the tax code for rental income, flat 21%, man, it doesn't get much easier than that. And then this purchase process so far seems like it's been really straightforward. Even the idea of getting a codice fiscale like on the spot, that seems really pretty easy. So, for sure down the road when I start to want to do some remodeling, like I'd like to put a ladder up to that rooftop deck and maybe expand that rooftop deck too. Now there, I guess I'm sure I'm going to have to jump through some hoops and go through some bureaucracy, but I fully intend to just hire a firm that does this, that's what they do for a living. Because I'm not Italian, I don't live there, so I just want to make sure that they do it right and take care of all that stuff, and I don't want to have to worry about it. So, yeah, so those are the big things with why I wanted to, or how to go through process, first of all, why I chose Piedmont. And the last thing I want to talk about, which I thought was incredible, was when I was doing some research. They have these things in this region of Piedmont called infernut, I think. Infernut, Infernot, I think. And basically what it is the farmers, the whatever they're growing during the summer and the spring and fall. In the winter, they didn't really have much to do. So in their spare time, they would go down, and in the rock, there's like a soft rock, sandstone kind of rock, I think, underneath a lot of this region, and they would carve out of the rock like a wine cellar. And there'd be these really incredible ones with like this big curved shelves carved out of stone, and then there's a lot of times a table right in the middle of it carved out of solid stone, and that's where you would display your wine and age your wine, because that sandstone gives like a perfect temperature and a perfect humidity for wine. So one of the things in my house, when I got that video from Paula about the cellar, there actually is a small one of those, a small infernut in my cellar. The cellar of that house is carved out of solid stone, and there's a room in there. You may have remembered that in the video with a bunch of wine bottles sitting on a shelf there. So really, really cool. That was one thing that I was just like, how awesome is that? Definitely one of the things I liked a lot. So I think it's just going to be an incredible experience. So I'm super excited. So anyway, that's it for this week. Any more updates, I'll keep you posted for sure. But, everything's still going smoothly. So fingers crossed. I'm hoping everything keeps going this way. So thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you again next week. All right, and one last thing before I go, I wanted to just thank everyone for subscribing. It's incredible. Last week I said to have 1,000 subscribers. I think I've got 1,400 today or something, getting close to 1,500. So the video about me announcing that I've bought a place was super popular. It's got, I think, over almost 8,000 views in a week. So that's pretty incredible. That's way more than any of my videos have had. So people are excited for that. But thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Click on my face down in the corner here and click on the subscribe button. Click on the little bell to get notifications whenever I post a new video. And I still have memberships if you guys are interested in helping me out. This takes a lot of time to make every video, probably 8 hours by the time I plan it and record it and edit it and post it. So any help you guys can give me with membership or whatever, I would be greatly appreciated. So that's great. And then also I just want to give a shout out to a few more people. I did that last week, and people seem to enjoy it. So a couple more. Dean, a buddy of mine up in Minnesota I grew up with. He also went to elementary school with me and lived down the street, and we've been friends forever. He started me off skateboarding after he'd lived in Florida for a little while, and we've been friends forever. He gives me tons of great feedback. He's super excited about the whole process too. So Dean, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, buddy. And then let's see who else. Rick in South Dakota. Rick's coming to Italy to ride motorcycles with me next month, so you guys will probably see him on camera. But he's watching every week too, and has been just really encouraging, and that's been fantastic. Paul, my very good friend Paul that I ride motorcycles with, that one video where I was out on a ride and went in that log cabin in the middle of the video. I was riding with Paul that day, so Paul watches them every week while he's doing paperwork or doing payroll or whatever. He's watching along, and so certainly appreciate that. And then everyone else who I'm forgetting, I'm sure there's so many more friends and family and people that have been encouraging me along the way and watching. And so thank you so much. I'll mention some more of you next week for sure. But stay tuned. Lots more coming. Lots more excitement. And man, it's been incredible, and just looking forward to it continuing. So thank you.